Welcome. This is Algebra 2, Unit 3.2, translating the polynomial graphs. You guys are going to think this is way too easy because we just did this with quadratics, but I love this unit. It just brings it home a little bit more. Remember, if it's an odd function, meaning that this n is an odd number up here, the power, then it's going to have that s kind of a shape. Or if it's a negative out front, the s would go the other way. On the even, if it's an even number up there, it's going to have a U shape. If it's a negative out front, that would become like the maximum, the N shape. Okay? If we see x minus h, because the minus is in the formula, that's actually a positive h that's in there. That's why it goes right. If we see a value that looks like this, it means that we plugged a negative value into h and two negatives made this positive, and that's why it goes left. On the k, if it's positive, it goes up, negative, it goes down. Same thing as what you learned in transformations on quadratics. So when I first look at one of these graphs, I'm just going to show you how I do it. I immediately look at the h and the k, and I bring that down into my vertex. So I know this is a positive 4 in actuality, and that's a 1. And I actually go to that spot on the graph, and I make a point. Now, after I make that point, I think about the parent function and how the f of x equals x cubed actually went with the origin through the 0, 0, and then 1 cubed was 1, negative 1 cubed was negative 1, and so I had those 3 points there of which I graphed my s. I just moved those 3 points right here. I go over 1, up 1. I go over 1, down 1. And now I just graph that same thing. Okay? So that's the transformation just moved. I always go vertex first. Same thing if it's even. I go vertex first. I know since that's a positive that it was a negative plugged in there. That's what caused that positive. And a negative 3. So I go to that place on my graph. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I do provide graph paper for your notes. I only have one graphing board, so I have to sketch here. Negative 3. There's my vertex. Now I go to my parent function. F x equals x to the 4th. And I know 0 to the 4th power is 0. I know that 1 to the 4th power would be 1. So I go over 1, up 1. I know negative 1 to the 4th power is positive 1 as well. And I know that it's a little bit wider in the base than the x squared was. I just know that by the behaviors. So I just kind of broaden it out there like that. Now, in this graph, I just simply come over and do the same thing. I go over 1, up 1. Over 1, up 1. Should have gone out a little bit more. Okay? Be prepared to discuss domain and range on these as well. Remember, in an odd function, domain and range are infinite. Now, in the last chapter, I allowed you to put all real numbers. I want to advance you a little bit more into interval notation. Parenthesis means that it can't be equal to it. So you would go negative infinity, positive infinity. Can't be equal to infinity because that's not a true value. Negative infinity, positive infinity. Okay? On this one, on even graphs, you do have limitations on your range, so our domain would still be that. But our range, our absolute minimum here is at negative 3. It's your k value. It can be equal to it, so we do a bracket to show equality. So it would be bracket negative 3 and then positive infinity because it's going up. Okay? Make sure and copy those down, ask questions on them. Write the rule for this function. Well, the first thing I go to, just like I do when I'm graphing, is the vertex. My vertex happens to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. and 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's 4 on the x, so the 4 goes first, and it's actually negative 5 on the y. Okay? So, my rule, because I see the 6 here, I would go g of x equals, I don't see any stretching going on yet, so I just go ahead and go right to the x minus 4 to the 6th minus 5. Now I double check, my vertex is 4, negative 5. Did I put it in there right? Yes, that h is opposite. Whoops. Opposite because the negative is in the formula. Okay? Translate the graph, x minus 3 to the 5th power plus 6, right 4 units. Okay? So if we're going right, that would actually come in as negative 4, 4 more to the right, and down 8 units, that would be a minus 8, and I just actually add them right here. So if I'm over 3 to the right, I go 4 more to the right, I'm going to be at 7 to the right, and I'm 6 up, and I'm going to come down 8, so it would be at a negative 2. And now I just put my transformation. Okay? Come to class with questions.